Welcome to Mouse House Plus episode 38, covering this week's What If, episode 8 of season 1. What if Ultron won? I'm joined by John. John, how are you?
I can't wait to get in this. I'm doing good.
Excelente. I love it. Well, let's jump right in.
All right.
The Watcher has a broken heart? Question mark. I was asking myself, how can he have all these different feelings and stuff if he just has had to stand there and watch all these different crazy things transpire?
I mean, you do realize he's just a podcaster, right?
He kind of is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad. But the Ultron bots are after Black Widow as Hawkeye starts dusting them, with his shooting. And then Clint's arm gets blown off, but it's Black Widow with the save. She gives Clint a hand. Did you suspect that his arm was off?
When I first saw it, I noticed that he had the mechanical bits. I didn't actually think the whole thing was robotic. I actually thought that was just like an armor or something like that on there. So when they blew it off, and I actually missed that they blew it off and didn't even catch it until she ran down and reached with a hand, because I thought that was an Ultron arm at first, or sorry, when one of the Ultron bot arms, and then when he goes, yeah, he just slaps it back on. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that happened.
Yes, it was kind of cool, a cool reveal, but it was also kind of disturbing, if that makes sense. I was just like, no, I don't want to.
Well,
No, I don't want to see this.
Let me cross franchises here. I do not know which one it is. This is why I need Alex to back me up, since he's a DC person. I know that on one of the Batman, like the Batman cartoons, animated series where it is like in the future. I know that they've got an episode where it's got like Green Arrow is like partnering up with something. We're talking about like Bruce Wayne's like on the verge of dying, like he's so old, but like Green Arrow is like missing an arm for that. So that's the thing, is like, that's how we take out all the archery people, lose an arm.
I remember that. I do remember that. Okay, that's a good one. Crossing streams, but still good.
Yeah, but giving that robotic arm, I mean, considering that we've already seen that in Wakanda, yeah, the technology's there.
We get the Ultron background story, and then Tony tries to rationalize with Ultron, but no. As we see the Avengers down in all those positions, like we saw in Tony Stark's vision that one time, and then Ultron launches nukes instead of picking up a fictitious city and slamming it back on the ground. And then when Thanos shows up with the Infinity Gauntlet and gets immediately sliced perfectly in half like a cow on Under the Dome, the failed series that Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com used to podcast about.
I know, I've seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anybody want a side of beef?
Literally, dude. All of this was great. All of it was, I mean, because, well, see, that's the thing. That's why Stark had to get to the hub in an Ultron movie, because Jarvis, or like a part of Jarvis was keeping him away from being able to get the nuke. So the first plan was to nuke the world. And when he couldn't do that, he automatically went to the second plan while still continuing with the first plan, which was to collide it with the continent.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was already something he was trying to do. This is just showing that he did it, because where he takes them out, they're in the hub.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right. And then we get the Infinity armor suit. Now, that was a cool one for them to do, because that suit is pretty epic looking.
All right. So what did you think about Thanos being sliced in half, by the way?
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, we all know, we've seen Thanos. Thanos is not a fast to react type of person in most cases. And I'm pretty sure he walked out basically being like, I'm going to school you because I have everything, and didn't even have, and because remember, he just basically said fascinating, whoop, done. So that means he showed up, took 2 steps, and was just cut in half. Okay. He had no chance to even really like get a bearing of where he was.
Do you want to argue now or later?
Sure, let's go for it.
Which stones did Thanos have?
He had all of them besides the Mind Stone.
Exactly.
I know how
coming back off the ship.
What? Do the
I've got you
rewind?
in a time. I've got you in a loop.
No, yeah, but he didn't set up the loop. We already know that either he has to activate it or be alive to be able to activate it, and
He
he was
could have
sliced in
done it
half.
on the ship. You're telling me Thanos is stupid? Like
Yeah,
Doctor Strange is just light years smarter than Thanos.
yeah. Because then why didn't he do that in Infinity War? Because he would have done that exact same thing in Infinity War. He would have came onto that planet knowing that something was about to going down. He's going to a war zone, and he would just rewound himself if need be.
Sliced in half, killed.
Yeah, and here,
dumb.
this is the thing though, and which I why I was waiting for for our conversation. Okay, so in the get go, Ultron is a product of the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone is now embedded in him, so he is already part of this thing, and he is able to understand it even better than Thanos can understand the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos knows what it can do, but he's not like, he can't think, he can't talk to the stones, where we know that these stones connect to each other, and they basically, that's all they want to do is get together. And if Ultron is basically, at least a third of the stone, it knows exactly what's going on with these things right here. That's the reason why he starts figuring stuff out pretty quickly, because it's like it's the evolution curve where because he has the stones and he has a direct connection to the Mind Stone, it's basically feeding him the information of what he can and can't do.
I think this is more of a writing ploy than it is a sensible ploy. Thanos is not stupid at all. Thanos has been around for how many thousands of years?
Yes, but Thanos is also arrogant, and he's also big-headed in the fact that he knows that he is like invincible.
How come Hulk or none of the other Avengers are sliced in half or in pieces or anything like that?
Because he didn't have to. He just
this is suspending disbelief. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right. So now he invades Asgard. The Sovereign, Sakaar. Oh, DJ, our freaking DJ
Grandmaster
is freaking out too. I was so sad for him.
Yeah.
Ego. And I was hoping Kurt Russell would chime in and be like, "Oh no," get blown up. Xandar, and that's where Captain Marvel shows up, but he destroys the planet anyway.
Well, here, let's rewind back to Ego. Remember how you were like, how could you leave that Ego plot line and the other one? Well, there you go. That's how you solve it. You just have Ultron just destroy it with all of his goons.
This is a different reality, though, isn't it?
It's
hard to tell anymore.
Yes.
All right. So after him and Captain Marvel go at it, that was a kind of a goofy little battle, too. It was really truncated, but I guess it had to be for this story.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I don't get about this is I know that Captain Marvel is powerful, but is she like, I can survive inside of a core of a planet powerful? That I was like, yeah. But honestly, I think it might have been one of those last result, like I have to like do this, and I don't care if I die, and putting him directly where he wanted to be to destroy a planet. He's like, oh, right. I don't need to try hard now.
He destroyed it, and then it's like, okay, how strong is he where he could survive the could he make his own reality, or could he do whatever he wants or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, he could have done that, encased himself in the shell because due to the reality and the space stone. He could have moved himself out of there. I mean, and if you want to do your thing, he could have rewound him. Like if he was in the process, he could have had himself stuck in a time loop where everything gets destroyed, and then he would just be fine.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see something like that. Anyway, he says it's done. Now he's all alone. Oh, I want to just cry for him. Not at all. But he can hear and see the Watcher, which shocks the Watcher. And he has one last hope. Did you think that this portion of the episode was astronomically cool, or did you think this was absolutely ridiculous?
No, cool. I am the cool line. I had a great time with this because again, like I was saying, is he is advancing. The more he uses the stones, and because he's got a stone embedded in him, he's learning more and more. So now he gets to a point where if everything in the cosmos is silent, he can hear everything, hear anything, and with the reality gem or stone, he's able to break through those barriers.
I was born in the 70s. You were right the first time, Jim. All right. We're going to argue again then, inevitably, when we get to that point, but we'll wait.
Okay.
At the KGB archives, Hawkeye and Black Widow discuss Raiders. Well, I was like, not bad, dude. And then they go through the archives, and Black Widow has a shield on. Now, was that the Russian version of Captain America's shield?
Yeah, that's the one that we see. What are we calling him? Is he Guardian or the Red Guardian or something like that? Yeah, that's the same shield. So I don't believe that is vibranium.
Vibranium.
It is like carbon adamantium, something like that. If I remember correctly, it's not as strong as vibranium, but it's up there.
And in the MCU, were they not able to say vibranium even at that time when they first started filming it all those years ago? They didn't own them. That deal wasn't 100% complete yet, was it?
Yeah, I'm not even sure who would have owned that property. So I'm going to say, actually, I think they could have if Disney had them.
They started buying it, but I wasn't sure if they had all that stuff complete.
Yeah.
Depends on which umbrella he falls under, I should say.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong.
I mean, he's underneath the Avengers umbrella, if anything. So I would say that he wouldn't have been in the Fox market at all, if I had to guess.
Okay, fair enough. The Watcher could intervene because Hawkeye touches the darn tootin' box, but gives up. But he's like, oh, I can't. And then Black Widow finds Arnim Zola's file. It was just right in that box as Hawkeye was giving up. And let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll talk about Ultron finding the Watcher.
Okay. What do you want to talk about? The plot line of using Zola, or just finding it in general?
Just finding it in general, like being to the last box. That and then pushing it back in and giving up. Did you feel like that was realistic?
I think it would have been more realistic had they been like day 1, day 5, day 20 as they're going down, because it's like, I mean, yeah, you can go rip through a lot of that stuff, and she knows what she's looking for, but still, what is it? Is it alphabetized? How's this stuff in there? I mean, clearly I understand where they're starting because they're like looking at the years and years and years, so they're in the right time frame, but God, man, he's absolutely right. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark, man.
That place was gigantic. And to get that close and, have the box and then push it back in, to me, I was like, this is improbable, but it's fun, it's a fun story to tell.
I mean, we can't say that it's never happened. How many times have I been like, oh, I lost this thing and I was looking for it. Had I just picked up my phone, I would have seen it. It was like right there. So yeah, I mean, everyone's had these moments.
Right. And then it happens. Ultron jump scare, finding the Watcher. Now here is what I want to talk about. Where does the Watcher reside?
Okay, that's a good question. I do not know what that space is called.
Okay, but it is outside of the time streams, correct?
Yes, I would say if anything, it's more or less kind of like the space. When we watched the end of Loki and the beginning of the one episode, we were in one time stream.
Yes,
and then there's another time stream over here. If I had to guess, it's that space in between.
That's what I was thinking. So, is Loki canon, or are the What If series episodes canon?
After Loki? This is awesome. After Loki, everything is canon, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all the Netflix shows, and Agent Carter. Because if all of that happened in a different universe now afterwards, it's now unlocked. Everything is now canon.
Okay, then. Do the Infinity Stones work outside of their universal plane?
Yes.
Because didn't work
for whatever reason,
they don't.
They don't. they don't work in like, oh yeah, because that was that in between zone. I don't know. I have
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
I
That's
really
where the
can't.
Watcher should
Oh,
be in something similar.
so what you're saying is the continuity error of Loki between what they're okay. I get you there. All right. Well, yeah, you got something there. Good job. Give yourself a star.
I just want to pat myself on the back for a few minutes. Can we just pause here for a second? Nah, I will give myself. I give myself a star. I guess that's even better.
There you go. But
Yay!
I mean,
Yay!
in the what was it? The Secret Wars series, where basically where we in the end we have the Doom planet with or War World. That one, the only way that you can basically destroy other things is with Infinity Gauntlet, and they Infinity Gauntlets jump from world to world. Now, the only one that I know it didn't work in was when and it keeps popping up in my feed every now and then. It was whenever Darkseid ends up with the Infinity Gauntlet from DC, and he's like, I feel and understand the absolute magnitude of the power it's in this. And then his scientist like, yeah, but it's from a different dimension, so it doesn't work. And he's like, it's useless, and he just throws it out.
Throws it out.
Yeah, so clearly there it doesn't work, but in the MCU multiverse it works because, and also whenever we do get to Doom World, I don't know where they get which Infinity Gauntlet they get, but I mean, shoot, actually in some of the realities there's additional stone. There's actually 7 stones in some of them. So it
Nice.
it really all depends. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. The cartoon series where everyone has like 4 fingers and they're all like small, like they made the little toys out of them and they're like this big.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they had the Infinity Gauntlet in that, and I mean, they've already made that continuity jump between a different Spider-Man episodes, and we already know that the Into the Spider-Verse is, highlighting the fact that these are all connected. So yeah, they're there, they exist, they work. Now, they may not be as powerful in a different dimension as it was in the one that it came from, but they're still Infinity Stones and they still pack a hell of a punch.
In Siberia, Clint and Nat find another backup of Arnim Zola. And then we get the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mention, and I just about teared up. And we find out Clint's middle name is Francis.
Yep, given to him by his Meemaw.
Who could deny that?
Yeah, and apparently that's a big thing that's blowing up on the internet right now.
And maybe there'll be a Francis T-shirt coming soon. I don't know. Oh my goodness! But they want him to dismantle Ultron from the inside out. I thought that was a good plan. What about you?
No, I agree, and I agree that they shot his legs out too because it's Zola.
And when they Clint's gonna pour water on him, I was like, "This is awesome!" Just the interaction between all 3 of them was really well done. And when Nat pranks Ultron, the Ultron bots or what have you, I thought that was fun too.
All right, so here's another continuity error. This is the same super soldier base that they used in Civil War. And so they're saying that base it had Zola the entire time, which they didn't turn on the computer. The only thing they did was turn on an office light and push play on a VCR. Right.
That's true.
So he could have been there. Now I feel like I need to go back and watch the end of that to see if that computer setup is hiding somewhere in that scene to see if they're trying to keep with that.
Oh.
But let me ask you, and this creeped me the blank out when those Ultron bots came down the hall and you had ones that were crawling and on the ceiling and on the ground, and there's just all that red. It honestly kind of freaked me out a little bit because
these are what the movie should have been.
Yeah.
These ones where they are menacing. You have a heck of a time getting them taken out completely. And like you said, that was a really, oh no, our characters are in jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, they come in, and it's not like the ones that were crawling even like stood up; they're still crawling, and it's like, ugh, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, when they then Hawkeye snipes that one out the corner in the eye, and
he did a great job. When he shot his USB arrow, I call it, because you can shoot arrows into computers and they'll download. that was fun. It was ridiculous, but they somehow still made it fun enough to where I was like, if nothing else, it's more comic relief than anything.
Well, I mean, I know that in the comics with like Ultron part, I mean, Ultron basically just needed to touch something and like he infected it. So,
True,
I
true.
mean, I think we're just taking that exact same trope and we're just using it on Zola instead.
Yeah, because I go more with the Star Wars where you got to find a terminal and then
Yeah.
spin the dial and all that stuff. Nat wields the shield and kneecap Zola, like you said. Clint shoots a barrier arrow. I was like, these arrows that he has are amazing. And then
Yeah.
he wants to let Nat, you know, get away, and he's like, let me go. And is there something in his Jeremy Renner's contract to where he has to always do the fall shoot arrow?
Sure, why not? I mean, maybe he was like after the first Avengers movies where they dogged him and made him like a zombie the entire time. He's like, if I'm going out, it's got to be awesome every single time. Yep. Oh no! And what do you think about being able to pack a small tactical nuke in an arrow? I mean, I was like, or I guess they call it an N2, a non-nuclear. You know, it's explosion hard enough that would hit like one. But man, I mean, you're right. He's just pulling arrows. Like, what else does he have? He had that one where he's like, he threw the discs and he makes his shield. So why didn't the Ultron bots go over there and start messing with the discs?
Right.
Because they just see them. They're not looking at where the shield's coming from.
And then in the heat of battle, how do you pick a regular arrow? And then how do you pick one of these specific arrows?
Okay, so I do not know the answer. There is something that basically describes how he does that. We also know that he had that little trigger thing in the grip of the bow, which brought around the arrows that he specifically wanted.
Oh, good one.
But I mean, whenever he's just pulling them out like that, I mean, they're not cycling through. He's pulling them too fast. So it has to be like some sort of weight or like the grip or just maybe the fletching. He just knows automatically what it is. Because I mean,
it'd be funny if he goes, "Oh, no, oops, that was a nuke one. Run."
Well, I know that you're trying to avoid like all trailers. So did you watch the trailer for the upcoming Hawkeye series?
No. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A friend of mine made a video, wanted me to watch it. So yes.
So whenever they're in the car and you're like, no, not that arrow. No, not that arrow. Yeah, that one right there, an explosion. He's like, if that's what that arrow does, what do these arrows do? So yeah, I think that we're gonna see a lot more of these Big Bang ones here up soon.
We need to. All right. Nat finds out Ultron is not in the observable universe. Ultron is taking it to the Watcher, and now the Watcher armors up, and you cannot compute the power of my will. That was awesome, man. That fight started to get. We'll go deeper into the fight in a second, but up until that point, I was like, man, when he armored up, I was like, yes, he can fight.
Who is the actor's name that's doing the voice of Utah?
Oh my goodness!
Because he is doing a bang up job, man. Like when he's concerned, he's like, it's right there. The subtle breaks in the voice, like it's perfect. Just I'm totally believing the fact that he is the Watcher with this. But you're right, like he Ultron smacks him around a little bit, and he kind of fights back, and then he armors up. Now, I had to go back and do some research. I already knew the answer, but we just wanted to double check. Okay, so no matter what, the Infinity Stones will beat him because he has the power cosmic on his back, but the power cosmic is still like more or less like the space stone and the power stone kind of mixed together. It's still not the combined strength of all of the stones.
Interesting.
So, but because we know that the Infinity Gauntlet could take down Galactus. Galactus is basically the embodiment of the power cosmic. He grants that power to Silver Surfer and all the rest of his minions. We see how powerful they are. They're crazy powerful.
Yeah.
But they're not indestructible. Where if you go against someone with the Infinity Gauntlet, they're done for. So, but instead of being granted, like I think he is. born into, or I mean, his race just embodies the power cosmic. So yes, he has power, he can fight back, but as we see as this fight progresses, the more Ultron is, putting it to him, he's figuring out more things he can do.
True. Very true. Jeffrey Wright is the voice of the Watcher.
I want to applaud that man. I love it. Love it.
Yes. Good job, Jeffrey. It's better than the Toys R Us Jeffrey, that's for sure.
Oh, wait, that exists anymore?
It's gonna again for the 6th or 8th time.
He's gonna come back as a cyborg giraffe.
This time he's gonna have the Infinity Gauntlet.
It's Jeffrey 2.0.
He's gonna do the snap.
Well, he did
half a retail.
Yeah, he did, and KB Toy Stores went away like that.
Not bad. Oh my gosh. The Watcher is being photographed. As their fight lands on some universe. And Steve Rogers is being sworn in as president in that particular universe. That was epic. And then Ultron smashes the Watcher, and the Watcher gets away though. And guess who he goes to see, John?
Well, hold on. Before we get there, I want to talk about just a couple of these fight scenes. Whenever he gets knocked on that one planet, and then basically he turns into the galaxy-sized creature to just eat the galaxy, I'm like, there. Now he's starting to figure out what he can do. When you start getting to that extent, I mean, I don't think Thanos never could think like that grand. Like Doom could think that grand because Doom is all over the place with like how maniacal he can be. Thanos is just tyrannical. So but that one, and then whenever he's like, basically lifting him, and he's like, "Isn't this much better?" It's so much better than just watching it, and a lot less creepier in your part. I was like, when he said that, I was like, "Ooh!" I'm like, you know what? I know that's not James Spade like voicing this version of Ultron, but that's one of his like cracks that he would drop.
We get into that in our ratings.
All right.
He goes to see the failed Doctor Strange in his little, what do you call that little area he's in?
Oh no, it's his own personal dimension. It's his prison of his own making, per his words.
Yeah. Okay.
So in his universe, that is all that is left. That what he's in is it.
And he makes the Watcher say he sees now and he needs his help. I was like, oh, that you got some cojones to make him admit that.
Oh, and again, with the voice acting, when he's like in the middle singing and he stopped, he's like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm going to say this." Just, yeah, it was perfect. But yeah, this is going to be kind of nuts that he'd have to go to him. But I mean, think about it. Strange has absorbed all the cosmic beings and dimensional beings of his universe, and because of such, I mean, he more or less is like an Infinity Stone, like himself.
Yeah,
so
powerful.
Yeah, he and I'm really curious to see how it's going to unfold, and I'm hoping maybe this is like a redemption for him. Like maybe he won't turn evil, he'll end up like saving, or who knows how they're doing this. But you're absolutely right. But whenever Ultron, like basically he's like, I don't care where you go. He's like, you can watch all you want, it doesn't matter. I've already I'm where I need to be.
Yeah, he is powerful, arrogant, and now he's got another purpose again.
Mm-hmm.
But he should have learned from the last time, because he was bummed out once everything was obliterated. That he was alone.
Yeah, but and that was the programming, and so, but as far as he's concerned, this time he's got more to take care of. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that with the progression of learning the stones, that he would realize that he could just rewrite a reality if he wanted to. That would be, whatever, wipe out all the life, and then he just creates new sentient synthetic beings,
right?
And then he's got his wish, but as intelligent as he is in using this, he hasn't gotten that far yet.
Well, it is ratings time, John.
Oh, I don't even want to mess around. It was
Really?
10. I was
Really?
sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my gosh. Look, I saw it came up in a YouTube video, just all the highlights of that episode, and I got to watch the Watcher and Ultron smash each other around. It was only 5 minutes long, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to watch. I'm like, holy crap. And then I sat down and watched it, immediately watched it again. I've watched it another like 3 more times. Before we started this podcast, I'd already gotten halfway through it. We were about to watch the Ultron Utah throwdown. I mean, last episode was just goofy as all else. This one was like all the action that I wanted, and to show the extent of what Ultron could actually do. And why not give him a power boost? Give him the Infinity Stones.
All right. I don't know. One, I can't give it a 10 on the premise alone of it is a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? It's not a complete story per se. Also, the Thanos thing annoyed me, irked me. The Infinity Stones working wherever you go. That I thought that was kind of a miss, or should have at least been explained, in my opinion. The voice actor, although he did a great job, James Spader has a once in a lifetime voice and cadence. Now, this guy kind of got the voice down, but the cadence is off. And you just can't duplicate that. You can't duplicate James Spader's timing. That's why I always tell Marvel, don't go get big actors that won't follow through on all the projects.
Well, the only
Get
thing
voice actors, especially if it's some character that you're not going to see the actor on screen anyway. Get voice actors because they'll follow the project to wherever they need to. So I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10.
So the only way that in my head I was able to convince myself that it was okay that he had that voice is that he's in a different body now, that is this synthetic organic whatever you were calling him, and because of that it changed just in that.
Let Paul Bettany do the voice then.
You know what? Thinking back, that would be even creepier.
Yes.
That would probably scare me even as much as those Ultron bots coming down that hallway, because if he did all of that stuff in his, that with his accent and as proper as it is, it would make it even worse.
I agree. I'm
Ooh,
all for it.
Yeah, you got something there. I agree with you there. Okay. Let me back down. How about 9.5? I won't give it the flat 10, but at this rate, Hank, we're looking at the unfinished story, as you put it. Then hypothetically, this entire series is the untold story, because we're now about to go and pick up all the heroes from all these different episodes.
And I hope this next one is longer, because that's not a lot of time to tell this whole come together and defeat this bad guy story.
Well, I mean, they'll do the montage and play some fun music, and they'll just start snatching people, and then they'll just sit everyone down and be like, we don't have time to discuss how you got here.
Yeah, exactly. No partying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ratings are out of the way, so let's get into some feedback, shall we?
Okay.
We have a voicemail from Mel. Mel, take her away.
First, Ultron way too powerful. I think a laser blast killing Thanos makes no sense when you think that Iron Man have stronger weapons than that, and he couldn't touch him in Infinity War. Speaking of which, how did Thanos have all the stones if Gamora was still alive during the events of Guardians of the Galaxy 2? And it looks like Xandar was still standing. So how did he get the Power Stone without a fight? And speaking of Tony Stark, hey, Tony Stark was in another episode of What If, and Tony Stark was killed in another episode of What If. Raise your hand if that's getting old. But it was cool seeing his hallucination from Age of Ultron coming true. The way their bodies were positioned, it kind of looked just like it did in the movie. Speaking of bodies positioned, if you look at Hulk's body, well, his head and his body from the back or that position, it looked intact. So exactly how was Hulk killed? Based on his power set, he should have been alive. If you don't see any blood or other than that, they just gave Ultron way too much of a power set even before he had the Infinities. But let's go to the positive. Um, I like the Skynet reference that Captain Marvel gave, but based on her timeline, she was probably talking about the first Terminator, and she didn't see the better of the two. And we're only going to pretend there were two Terminator movies. In the Age of Ultron comic, Black Widow and Hawkeye were with Spider-Man and Moon Knight during that comic. I also like Steve Rogers as president from the classic What If comic where Steve Rogers was president. And then Ross Marquand, the actor from Walking Dead, did another good job. He did another impersonation. He was Red Skull in the first episode, and then he was Ultron in this episode. He did a good job. He's a good impersonator. Look him up on YouTube if you can. Hopefully, next episode is better, but we'll see. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you, Mel. There sounded like somebody was ringing something up at the, behind Mel's conversation there. I could hear some like beep, 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 and static, some interference. But thank you so much for sending that in, Mel. Let's go through some of the stuff. Way too powerful. I kind of agree with that.
But it's the Mind Stone, and we've already seen Vision like use that in ways that is so OP, it's ridiculous. So,
and Thanos pulled it right out of his skull.
Yeah. Where this entire, and you're right, I know what you're going to say. Why didn't Vision do that? Because Vision is more of a pacifist than he is an actual like fighter. He didn't want to do that. He would rather see the stone destroyed than have anyone have it. And because I thought about that as well. But clearly it would have been a lot easier to just slice him in half. But killing the Hulk, I mean, he has the Mind Stone. Technically, I mean, he could just go. That's like the one thing that Hulk can't. You can defeat him with, and that is messing with his head. And if you just basically just made him brain dead, then it doesn't work. He doesn't work anymore.
All right. Thanos had all the stones. He did not have all the stones.
He had doing the collecting of the stones. He made me think about that, and I get that. Okay, so first off, there must be another way that he could have gotten the Soul Stone, because he's right. We do see Gamora, which means he had that first. Now he shows up with that nice time frame that that it kind of does make sense. But we're just saying now there's been different ways that he has actually acquired everything. The Power Stone may not have made it to Xandar, because remember the Power Stone was on its way to Thanos originally. Right. And let me see what other ones. Well, I mean, actually, I'm kind of surprised he didn't go to Nowhere and see Nowhere being destroyed, because I mean, he would have had to get, that would have been a reference point too, considering we basically hit all the places where we got an Infinity Stone from. But I mean, he is right. There are pieces there that, we know that he has to do certain things to be able to get the stones. And unless we knew the background of where that stone was beforehand, primarily the Soul Stone being that you'd have to kill off someone you love to get it. That's the only, that one right there, I will admit, is the only loophole. There was a fan theory about that. I did not read the fan theory because I just wanted to watch the episode again.
But he didn't have the Mind Stone, though.
No, he did not have the Mind Stone.
Right. So he didn't have all of them.
Yeah.
All right. Tony Stark dying again. I think I'm one of those people that's like, it almost feels like shots fired.
Hold on. No. I have the correct terminology because this is being discussed. You mean, oh my God, they killed Tony? So he's basically turned into a South Park meme.
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
You just need someone in the background going, "You bat," and basically saying that. But it had been addressed, and that was another article. I got to find all these articles so we can get them linked, because that's apparently a thing now, that because he's basically died off so many times.
I'd unfollow him too then. Now
this is how we get you back.
Sean Bean syndrome.
Through the cartoons. Oh my gosh. He just needs to mumble. Let him close his mask down and be like,
You killed Tony. All right,
Oh.
Hulk being dead. Um,
Mind crush. Mind
I
crush.
mean, we saw him explode from the
Yeah,
crevices of
from his heart. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even want to get into it because this will forget it. Let's keep going. All right. What else did he say? Ultron's power set. Yeah. Ultron's power set.
It just, I mean, he had the Mind Stone.
Suspend some disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, he was already crazy hard to even battle hand to hand in the first place. Slap a Mind Stone in him, and we already know all the stuff Vision can do. Imagine that in with the drive that Ultron had, and he's using the Mind Stone to just kill everybody instead of trying to save the place.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, OP.
Yeah. Yes. All right. And Mel had some great thoughts on this. So thank you so much, Mel, for sending that in. That was awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Mel.
We got an email from Elizabeth. Hi, Hank and John. Another trippy and depressing episode. If evil Doctor Strange is back, will the writers create a grand unifying theory of what if and make everything all better? Let's stop there for a second. Do you think everything is going to be all better after this finale?
I mean, it seems like they're kind of leaning towards that. But let me ask you something. Do we know if there's going to be a season 2 of What If? I mean, are they continuing these things?
I thought I had read that there was going to be, but now I am doubting that.
Well, I mean, this could just be the solve right now. Like, this helps get everybody in, and then it's like the end of Mandalorian, where you're like, oh my god, now I have to come back because I got to see, what's going to happen to this Grogu. So,
oh, cool.
But I mean,
I guess no, there's no official confirmation yet that I see, but I thought I had read that there was going to be a season 2. That they had decided that early on, but I might be thinking of Loki or something else. All right. Elizabeth goes on to say, my apologies to John. I don't know you outside of TPE Network podcasts, and I am not in a Star Wars or Star Trek group. But if you start a Doctor Who group, sign me up. Thanks, Elizabeth. That's awesome. Elizabeth is awesome.
I was gonna say that Doctor Who isn't me. Who's Doctor Who? Isn't that no
Wayne?
That was Wayne. Yeah.
Wayne Henderson's got a Don't Blink podcast about Doctor Who. I can endorse anything Wayne Henderson does. I can endorse. All right.
I'm not seeing anything either. It specifically says one thing or another.
Okay, so we'll have to press pause on that. I do want to mention one quick thing is oh my gosh, if I get this wrong, I'm gonna be all right. So a great community member pointed out that the podcast was not updating in Apple Podcasts. So if that ever happens, just email us at feedback@tpenetwork.com or hit @TPE Network on Twitter. Just let us know because it's not because it's not been working for 2 weeks. So the last 2 episodes didn't go out to Apple Podcasts. It went everywhere else. And then people were just going to the website and listening, which is always an option because I keep a player on the website for that reason. But something had messed up with the feed when we our web host had changed TPE Network to a different server, a faster server, a better server. And when they did that, it messed up the feed. So I thought it was fixed, but I don't have an iPhone or an iPad, which I'm going to have to buy one. I'm on Android, so on Android apps, everything was fine. And then I'm like, oh, nothing has updated since September 10th. Oh, that's not good. So thank you for alerting me on that. And Apple, they were able to resolve the issue for me. So thanks to them as well. But what, you wanted to say something, John?
No.
Okay. You were leaning in there. I thought you were trying to say something. All right.
No, I mean, I actually didn't see the last week's podcast pop up in my app until like today, which maybe it was part of that. I mean, I don't have an Apple phone. I'm running Android, so I don't know why it would have taken so long, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's resolved.
And a lot of apps too now, you have to go download the file in a lot of apps now. There's some apps are stopping auto download, which I think is a mistake, but whatever. These app to app, they're kind of confusing. But if you're into the technicalities of podcasting and such, if you find a podcast app that is podcast 2.0 compliant, it's going to be your best bet. So like Podcast Addict or Podcast Republic and stuff like that on Android, apps like that, they're going to update quick. Apple Podcasts is doing something different where they're not updating as frequently. But, whatever app of choice you use, you just kind of have to keep an eye on it. But the show is typically out by Friday evening or early nighttime, before 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Jeff, if it's getting later than that and it's not out, there's probably something amiss. But anything else, John?
You know what? No, I'm good.
Okay.
This episode was enough. I need to have more. I need more of this in my life.
I appreciate you carving out the time, John, and you and Mel did a fantastic job. I listened to that episode start to finish. You guys did a great job last week.
Oh, thanks.
Just one more week to go until this show is over. Oh, it's so sad. It's kind of sad, but it should be a lot of fun. So can't wait for that. But for John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
See you, everybody.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.
I'm reading here. It says that while all